Now in today's video, we're going to be running through my ultimate draft ahead of Matchday 4, and we're also going to be talking about the new chip and my personal opinion on the best time to use it. Now, of course, before we dive into today's video, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as it is massively appreciated. And we're trying to hit 15,000 subscribers before the start of the new FPL season. And I'm thoroughly enjoying the Club World Cup content that I am making for you guys. It seems to be kind of, being perceived really well as well. So, obviously, if you're enjoying it, let me know in the comments section. Let's take a look then how the knockout stages are lining up for the round of 16. Of course, I am filming this. There are still some games to be taking place tonight, but as you can see, football rankings have kind of put what it projects are going to be those next rounds anyway. The ones with the circles around them are teams that are already through. As you can see down the bottom, City and Juventus are through, but they might potentially end up on different sides of the draw. The Al Hilal Real Madrid group is still up in the air, and again, obviously still TBC. But let's talk through the ones that, of course, we can see so far. We are going to obviously look at the betting markets for these fixtures and find which ones are the best ones to target. But off the top of my head, in my personal opinions, the ones that I would be looking at would definitely be PSG. That is the standout fixture this week. Quad PSG heading into this week. It has to be a must, really, against Inter Miami. They've got the highest percentage chance of a win this week as well. Bayern Munich against Flamingo as well, I think, is also a pretty decent shout, to be honest, for a team I would be looking to target. If City do face Al Hilal, I think that's another one. I definitely would be looking to back Manchester City as a club as well. And then the rest, I know they're probably going to favour the European sides, and that's what I've seen from the bookmakers as well, but they're very, very split, and I definitely think we could see some upsets in this stage of the competition. The Brazilian sides especially have been doing so well, and I think maybe we could see one or two upsets across the next few rounds, and maybe some big European teams do eventually go home. But those are the fixtures that I think I'm going to be targeting so far, and of course using the betting data to decide which fixtures are the best ones to go for. But of course, before we take a look at that, let's look at the new chip that was announced. Now, I went through this on the deadline before, of course, it kind of closed the stream and stuff like that, and it was announced, this chip, the qualification booster. This is the new booster, or chip if you like. It is active, and basically you gain an edge in the knockout stage of the competition. Every player in your team, excluding the ones on the bench, who qualifies for the next round will earn an additional 2 bonus points. So I think there's a couple things to take away from this chip. Personally, having done a little bit of research, the next round is going to be the best time to play this chip, because this is probably the period where you're going to have at least 11 of the starting players that should be progressing. So that's an extra 2 bonus points just for winning those games. And of course, we are going to be looking to, if you've not got a wild card, be targeting the stronger teams anyway that have the higher probabilities of getting through, to avoid, of course, being in a position where most of your team is knocked out. So that is pretty advantageous for the people without a wild card as well. So I like this chip. I like the addition of it. I think the 2 bonus is decent. The thing to monitor, though, is it is that line that says excluding the bench. It is only going to be that 11 in your side that do progress. That's going to be the 11. They need to be the ones that are in your team. So if you've got a player maybe that plays within the first match day, doesn't do well, maybe he only picks up 2 or 3 points, maybe it could be worth potentially keeping them in the squad, because if that team does progress, there's going to be an additional 2 bonus points added onto their score. So they could end up being on 5. So I do think that is something to maybe monitor. Now, I'm not sure if the progression points are instantly added to the game like that. I'd imagine so, but this is FIFA, and this game is a little bit broken, so we can't be, 100% sure that that is going to be the case. But I do believe that this is going to be the best time to use it is in the round of 16, and making sure you are keeping those players within your squad. Of course, the other idea I had was maybe in the final, because, your squad's probably going to be stacked maybe a little bit more towards one side, but having reflected on it, I do think the round of 16 is the best time to use the qualification booster, in my personal opinion. Let's move on then. Let's take a look at some betting data before, of course, we head into my ultimate draft for Matchday 4. This is the probability of a win. As you can see, PSG very high up. I obviously identified that as a pretty decent fixture to be going for, and I think all these teams here as well kind of work well with the if you're going to play the new booster as well, to obviously get those 2 bonus points as well. So Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan, Chelsea, and then we really start to drop off, I would say, probably after Palmeiras Palmeiras. Flamengo, Fluminense both on 20. Monterrey on 21. Botafogo on 28, Benfica 27, and then Inter Miami 6.67. Now, obviously, we don't have the other teams in here so far because we're still waiting for those games to take place before the betting markets can be put together. But initially, off the teams that we do have so far, I definitely think, PSG, Bayern, Dortmund, Inter are going to be the teams I want to heavily target with above kind of 50% chance of, progression to the next round. But PSG are going to be the ones that I definitely think we need at least a quad stack for, in my personal opinion. An 83% probability. That could be 4 players that additionally pick up 2 points just like that. Very, very nice indeed. In terms of the projected goal numbers, then looking into the match day 4, again, no real surprise. It's kind of the same teams topping this list. PSG top at the moment with 2.27. Bayern Munich with 1.26. Borussia Dortmund with 1.61. Inter, Chelsea. And then again, after Palmeiras, we are seeing quite a big drop-off. I imagine if City are placing Al Hilal, probably going to be coming around probably like maybe 160 to 180 range, in my personal opinion. Real Madrid, if they're facing off against Juventus, maybe that again will probably be around the 140 to 150 range, depending obviously how the bookmakers do price that one up. But again, it is going to be those same teams from the attacking perspective that I will be looking to target. So the PSGs, City if they do face Al Hilal, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund and Inter Milan are going to be the teams that I'm going to be looking to target with this ultimate transfer. High chance of progression, lots of goals, and I think that is going to be the play. Finally, before we head into the team then itself, let's take a look at the clean sheet numbers. Again, no real surprises there. PSG top in this list with a 50% probability. I think Hakimi and Mendes being the defensive pairing is definitely going to be a route for a lot of people. Great for points as well, additionally with their attacking output. We saw that in match day 3 with Hakimi as well. So I really, really like the double up of those two. Inter Milan, as well up there with a 44.44% chance of a clean sheet. Of course, Denzel Dumfries is going to be the popular option there. One that did stand out to me here from the betting market was Palmeiras with a 42.19% chance of a clean sheet. For some reason, the bookmakers are very, very favourable of this clean sheet, and there might be a few players in there that we potentially can go and get ourselves some scouting bonus on. And remember, that is one of the key ways to, of course, go and get some points within this game. But yeah, that could be another route to some potential points as well. Maybe looking at some Palmeiras defenders, high probability of a clean sheet in this match day, so it could be one of those little bit of a hidden gems if you like. That was, of course, all the betting data so far. There will be updated versions, of course, as we get closer to the match day 4 deadline. But let's head into my ultimate draft for this match day. Okay, wasting no time, let's dive into the draft then. Starting off first with our goalkeepers, it is going to be Weatherton and Ederson. Now, this is all dependent on Manchester City getting the side of Al Hilal. Of course, if that does change and they're facing off against Real Madrid, then of course we'll just swap out for the Juventus players rather than the Manchester City ones. So Ederson would become De Gregor, but of course if they are on that side of the draw, I definitely want to be targeting them as well. The other goalkeeper we have gone for is Weatherton. Now, currently at 5.8% selected, but I do think with a lot of people having, the ability now to just make unlimited transfers, they're probably not going to look at this guy. They're going to undervalue him as a potential option. They won't see the clean sheet numbers that Palmeiras are predicted for this week. So he could drop under 5%, which would be great to see. We get our scouting bonus back. But like I said, they've been a pretty resolute defence so far at this tournament. Again, the data is suggesting high probability of a clean sheet. So we're going to go for Weatherton and hope that he can claw himself under that 5%. Heading into our back line, it is going to be Denzel Dumfries, obviously featured in match day 3 and nearly had a scrap down the tunnel. But again, it is a pretty decent fixture. We saw Inter Milan, high up in terms of the chance of clean sheets, high up in there in terms of chance progression of winning through the tournament as well. And they're on quite a nice side of the draw, so I don't mind Denzel Dumfries as a decent option. Obviously, as UCL Heroics as well were fantastic if you owned him in the Champions League fantasy game. And as you can see, the defenders that we have got within this side all have that capability to go and get those massive double-digit hauls alongside the clean sheets as well. And that goes with the next pair as well in Nuno Mendes and Hakimi. We saw a 50% probability of a clean sheet for PSG, top of the projected goals, top as well for progression chance of win. So you might get 2 bonus points just for these guys keeping a clean sheet and of course progressing to the next round. We saw Hakimi's massive 14-pointer as well. They're in a really nice part of the draw as well, where I think they could potentially go a fair distance as well. So I like both Hakimi and Nuno Mendes as my defender pickups for this week. The other defenders on the bench is going to be Svensson. Again, a goal for him last night. Had a goal ruled out as well in Matchday 2, so has been very, very prolific in this tournament and has been quite a decent point-scoring defender. It is a shame that he is over 5%. However, we did see that Dortmund also were quite high up on the kind of projected chances of finishing. Getting through this group as well, so we are hoping that he can pick up those 2 additional ones. Garcia at the moment is currently under 5% as well, so would be picking up the scouting bonus from Real Madrid. Again, if they are facing off against Juventus, I would still like a little bit of coverage, but not too much. Of course, if they were to progress through that fixture, we'll definitely look to start loading up on the Real Madrid assets. But right now, Fran Garcia at 3.1% selected could be that nice differential that we do go for. Let's head in then to the midfield. We're going to start off with Enzo Fernandez, and my oh my, this guy, by the way, is having a pretty decent tournament, isn't he? To say his minutes have been pretty hit and miss. 7 points in match day 1 off the bench, 10 points in the final match day as well. He has really become Chelsea's talisman. Cole Palmer now is 27 games without a return in open play. Now, I know he has the penalties and all this and whatever, and it is Cole Palmer, but I still think Enzo Fernandez right now is the Chelsea pick to be going for. Comes in at a really, really good price point as well at 6.2 million. I absolutely love and adore the price point that he's coming in at. I think a really, really nice, cheap and affordable way to get into that Chelsea side as well. Obviously not the most easy fixture against Benfica, but if they do progress through that fixture, a lot nicer fixtures for the quarterfinals. So maybe Chelsea are one of those teams that maybe just 1 or 2 assets and monitor how they get on and hope that they can get some progression to the next round as well. Kvaratskhelia and Vitinha kind of complete our PSG quad, if you like. Kvaratskhelia, pretty decent tournament so far for him. With Dembele, of course, out at the moment, I still think he's going to be the standout pick to go for from PSG. I don't see any reason why they're going to rush Dembele back for this Miami fixture. I think again maybe it's one where he's on the bench, potentially features for the last half an hour of the game, just get his match fitness up before of course heading into the more competitive and more difficult rounds of this tournament. But a game against Miami, PSG will be like, yep, we can probably not risk Dembele for this one, and I think Kvaratskhelia will probably play a decent proportion of the game anyway, and like we saw, top of the projected goals. Same with Vitinha as well. He's been having a pretty decent tournament if you look at his point scoring so far. A 9 and a 6, obviously an assist, a goal in this one as well. He's been pretty decent, and I just can't say confidently who that other kind of attacking player is going to be for PSG right now with Dembele out. Doué looked really good, but again, there's still that risk. Bradley Barcola looked decent off the bench. Again, I will have to see maybe some PSG predicted lineups before kind of confidently confirming my PSG pick heading into this next round. So for now, a player that has been pretty steady is Vitinha and has been getting the attacking returns, so I don't mind it as an option. Michael Olise is going to complete that list. We saw that Bayern Munich were up there for chances progression and of course for the projected goal numbers as well. Been having a pretty decent tournament as well so far, and definitely, you know, that rest against Benfica, only playing 45 minutes, will definitely give me a little bit more confidence that he is going to play decent minutes heading into match day 4. Phil Foden again is in here. Again, his minutes are dicey. Very, very dicey, but a good opening game. Difficult second game. Didn't really feature too much, just the 45 minutes there. So, again, it is all dependent on which side of the draw Manchester City do end up before, of course, committing to that potential treble up in terms of their assets. However, for right now, I am just going to have Foden in there, but of course that could change tomorrow once the teams are confirmed. Let's head in then to the attackers. Again, Erling Haaland does also fit in that bracket. I think Al Hilali could be a great captaincy option for this match day if, of course, my captain did get to that point. But again, it is all dependent on what happens in that City-Juve game tonight. Which side of the draw does Erling Haaland end up on? And that very easily could become somebody like Molo Mukwani potentially as well. Could fit in there. Yildiz as well could also fit in there. So that's an open to interpretation. And Mbappe potentially as well, if they're facing off against Al Hilal, could be the route that potentially could be that one. So that's an open slot for now, but of course we have got Erling Haaland in there. Igor Jesus is a player I really like from Botafogo, coming in at 4.1 million and has allowed us to build a pretty decent team, if I say so myself. Again, just over 5% for now, but I do think with a lot of people having that ability, unlimited transfers, he might be one of those players that come the deadline sneaks under that 5% ownership. As you can see, 21 points scored already in this tournament. They've got, you know, an all-Brazilian clash heading into match day 4. You never know what could happen in that one. So I like him as an option. Scored against PSG, scored against Seattle Sounders already this tournament as well. So he's in good form. And again, gives us a captain for that first game. We could have always go for Weatherton, but Igor Jesus, that attacking outlet, why not? Let's have a little bit of fun with it. Hopefully, like I said, he could be another one that does sneak under that 5% with, of course, people having unlimited transfers. Kane, again, a player that definitely Bayern need him. Like, when he's fully fit and available, he is one of their best players on the day. Same with Michael Olise. Again, they've got that nice, easy game in Flamengo in the round of 16, should I say. It would be a lot more difficult when, of course, they do face off against PSG, but we will have transfers to, of course, switch round our team and maybe move a few players out and in. But I think Kane for this game, given the projected goal numbers that we saw from the betting markets, again, is going to be another one that I really would like to have, and definitely gives me a decent captaincy option between him and Elise for match day 4. Of course, that is how the team is lined up for now. There is going to be changes when, of course, the full fixtures are announced and we get a little bit closer to the deadline. I'll do my team selection video tomorrow, and of course, I will be live for the deadline on Saturday as well. So if you are new to the channel, make sure you're hitting that subscribe with bell notifications on so you will be notified when I do go live. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in match day 4.